Hi, everybody. This is Cheryl Abram, and this is my Ypifany channel. Today I'm gonna be a little bit messy, okay? Because with all this free time we have, I have been spending a lot of time looking and commenting on various things on my social media post, in addition to writing some stuff and all that. But I happened to be running up and down the Twitter streets the other day. And I follow various learning professionals, okay? Because I like that. That's what I do. Those are the things that I do. And there's one guy that I follow him because he's really controversial. You know, he'll say stuff that rubs people the wrong way. But I don't have a problem with that because I like the way that he just, presents another point of view. You know, he may not be so nice every now and then the way he does it, but it's another point of view. Okay, it's another way of looking at something, and I like that. All right. So, however, he put a post up on Twitter. I guess he was asking people to help him build a list of learning professionals, individuals who have significantly impacted learning. Okay. So he shared his list, and I looked at the list and something immediately jumped out at me. So let me share this with you so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Okay. And I'm gonna make it big so you can see. Where's the thing? Here we go. This is the list of influential people in the last 2,500 years that have influenced L&D, learning and development in organizations. Y'all look at his picture. 2,500 years. Look at the people in this picture. Okay, all the way, I don't know who that is, all the way from up here. That looks like a picture of Jesus. As we've been told, the way he looks. Okay, look at these folks. The first thing that jumped out at me is a very clear absence of melanin. Okay, so my comment on the tweet was, in 2,500 years, we've had no POC, people of color, contribute to this area, contribute to learning and development. Okay, it was rhetorical, but this kind of stuff right here is what's happening right now in organizations. We have a lot of very kind, well-meaning, very intelligent, colonized minds running the show. Okay? Colonized, and don't see anything funny about pictures like this. Nothing. See absolutely nothing weird, or nothing's missing, or yep, this is a complete list, or y'all might have more, but you know what I mean? So I on this channel, when I first started this channel, let me go back to my picture. When I first started this channel, okay, I talked a lot about starting it because one thing that I want to do is to help decolonize the minds, okay, that are in organizations right now when it comes to learning and development, specifically learning and evaluation. Okay, so I have as a link, I think I put it here. If I didn't, I'll go back and do it, but I'm going to link the video that I made months ago. Okay, it's called Decolonizing Evaluation. Okay, we need to talk about this. Like, seriously, we absolutely need to talk about this. And in that video, I give a definition of colonization for those of us who don't know what it is. So colonization is the action or process of settling among and establishing control over the indigenous people of an area. Okay, it's also, hold on. Another definition is colonization is the action of appropriating a place or domain for one's own use. Now, when it comes to the stuff that I do, colonization is not just about taking over somebody's land, okay? Which is typically what we think of, when we think of colonization. You go in, you take over the land, you steal shit, act like it's yours, and you kick people out or kill them, okay? Yes, that is what it is. However, colonization, hey, Chocolate Diamonds, how you doing? Colonization is also, oh, thank you. Thanks so much. Colonization is also being able to take over the way people think, okay? You could be the most well-meaning person in the world, in your organization, in your team at work, okay? But if you have a colonized mind, you are not going to be able to see what I saw so clearly in that picture that I just showed you. There is no way in hell that in 2,500 years, Black people and other people of color have not significantly contributed to various management models, to learning models, to scientific models. There's no way. It's impossible that has not happened, okay? And the fact that we don't acknowledge that, except for 30 days out of a year, is ridiculous. That is totally ridiculous, okay? Once we start to acknowledge it, once we start to see that, like that picture that I showed you, once we start to see that we are approaching various things with minds that have us blind to everybody. This is why I talk so much about the racism inherent in diversity and inclusion programs, okay? Diversity and inclusion programs are not meant to change the thing that's causing the problem in the first place, okay? We need these programs because of systemic issues. Diversity and inclusion programs don't change no systemic issues. You know what they do? They make the company look good, okay? They seemingly make the company look like they're actually doing something, they're working diligently to be sure that the best talent is in place, okay? And not looking at, the degree of melanin in someone's skin to determine whether or not, they reach a certain level. Those programs don't do nothing, and it burns me up. Like, it really, really does burn me to pieces when I see, people talking about, okay, this person is the head of the diversity and inclusion at Microsoft. It's always, I have never seen a white person in charge of a D&I program. But they put us up there, whether it's, a Black person or some other POC as in charge of that program, to make it look like, oh yeah, we're doing a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, it's just ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. If they were doing anything, we wouldn't need them anymore. Okay, if they were really making change, we wouldn't need it anymore. Okay, but we do. We absolutely do. But we need to change the way we do them. Okay, because if I am not, and let me tell you what the issue is. What the real issue is that nobody is really talking about. The real issue that we're dealing with here is control, decision-making, and accountability. The people in power, okay, have control, decision-making ability, and accountability, okay, which is, they're answerable for those things, okay? They want accountability. The people in power want to stay in power. You can have as many women, as many LGBT, as many Black people, as many, people with disabilities. You can have as many of those in the organization as you want. But as long as I as the person in power, continue to have control, accountability, and decision-making ability, we good. And that's why diversity and inclusion programs don't work. Because you got colonized minds who really feel like, I belong here. I am inherently, this is inherently my space. I need to maintain control. Okay. A D&I program will work once you see a mixture of people who now are being or accountable for things, who are making decisions about what happens in the organizations, decisions about the policies, right? Decisions about the laws that are being written. Do you see what I'm saying? They don't want to do that, but they'll have an ice cream social all day long. Okay, they'll have people come in to talk about Martin Luther King and all this. They'll do all that stuff, but don't put nobody in this seat so that now they have control, accountability, and decision-making power. See, y'all think we stupid. We not crazy. We see exactly what's going on. Exactly what's going on. Okay, and the way you perpetuate that is by showing the picture that dude that I showed earlier. Okay. You show a picture that tells people to make sure they have their numbers. You're right. Absolutely. That's all they're concerned about. Okay. We need one more lesbian in here so that we can, we can pass the compliance, whatever, for diversity and inclusion or whatever the hell. When I went to a leadership program last year. Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. It was for one whole month last year, the month of March, leadership program. It just happened to be in Charlottesville, Virginia. Okay. Now, in that program, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna bash the program, right? But there was so much, oh my goodness, ignorance. Let me just call it that. Okay, there was just so much rampant ignorance. Okay, when it came to, and it was leadership. Okay, so it's about teaching people, how to be leaders in organizations and stuff. But you could just see the colonization in there, and it's not like it's anybody's fault. Okay, your mind, it becomes colonized, when you're born into a certain tradition, when you're born into a certain culture, when you're born seeing certain things happen, and you just turn out that way. That's why on this channel, I call the people who are all my subscribers, we are evolving minds. Like that's what we are. Okay. Because that means you got to move. Like there's some movement there. You can't stay, your mind cannot stay where it is. Okay. You have to evolve and adapt, right? And that's more for you than anybody else, right? Because you want to be able to see. Don't nobody want to be running around here blind, okay? I'm not going to see anything if my mind does not evolve, okay? My sight is going to get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, okay? I have to move with the world. Like I have to move, okay? So that's what's not happening in organizations. So I told this person, some of the feedback that I gave, because I was the evaluator there, some of the feedback that I gave was that one of the things I noticed is that in the content, so we had to go to class, okay, and we had to hear different, leadership talks about how to manage people, supervisory stuff, and, all that stuff, right? In addition to self-awareness type things and all that. Well, because it's very academic, it's focused a lot on academics, okay? You have to cite your resources that you use for the slides, the books you use to get the information, all that stuff, okay, if it's not original content. So I'm looking at the materials, okay, looking at what's being cited and who these people are and what the examples are that they're using. And one of my comments was, why is everything so white? Like seriously, Why is everything you trying to tell me? All of this content, this was 30 days of content, okay? You couldn't find anybody else. You couldn't find any other model that was you know, which burns me up, because that subtly gives the impression that if you don't look this way, okay, then you are unable, to come up with these kinds of ideas. That's, oh my goodness. I'm telling you. So that's why this tweet, just triggered something in me. Okay. Because what I'm talking about now, we don't talk about. We don't talk about that at work. Okay. And we need to talk, if organizations are really serious about diversity, right? If they're really serious about making money, okay? If you're serious about making money, turning a profit, helping people, or, whatever your mission is, there's no way you're going to really be able to do that without allowing diversity to happen. And that's the thing. The world is already diverse. It ain't like we got to do something to make it that way. There is lack of diversity, okay, because we're in the way of what's naturally happening, okay? Our colonized minds are getting in the way of what's already there. Yes, that is why I love your teachings and trainings. I'm over transitioning out of teaching 3rd to 5th grade science. Oh, okay, all right. So where are you going, Chocolate? Transitioning out of teaching to what? Like, where are you going to? Because I just transitioned out of my job as well. But we have to be more. One of the things I said I was going to do, and this is why I had to get out of government. All right, because what I'm saying right now, people ain't trying to hear that stuff, especially the people in leadership positions. All right, especially people in leadership positions, they're not trying to hear that. But which is why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Why I have this channel and my blog and all that stuff. Okay. Because we got to talk about this. If we really, really are sincere, like really sincere about change happening for the better for everybody, for everybody. Okay. Then we have to address this. Which is why that the program in Charlottesville. Now, all the stuff that happened in Charlottesville with the people with the tiki torches and all that stuff that happened down there. And even when I was there, they had another racially motivated incident. And it was just like, it's like nobody wants to talk about it. Okay. We want to talk about it just enough until people's feelings start getting hurt. Then we don't want to talk about it anymore. You ain't going to, like, who is that helping? And I have another video on here where I talk about how some leadership programs can have a deleterious effect. They can have a negative effect on the person. Some leadership trainings have a negative effect on the person. And, to be perfectly honest, I really believe that one did. Okay, because it's too much. If you're not gonna tell the truth, about what's going on, if people don't feel safe enough to be able to say what they really want to say, then don't do it. Just take that completely out, because you're doing more harm than good. When you introduce these topics and then, don't let people say what they want to say and feel the way they want to feel about it. Okay, so I'm working on a small nonprofit grant. Oh, good. That's great. I love nonprofits. I mentioned here I'm a social worker, right? And I've always worked in a nonprofit. I've never, even with my full-time job, I've always volunteered and done a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, so I might have to blog about this and like share it on LinkedIn or something like that, because and I'm participating in another meeting too. But I want to bring this up more. I do want to bring it up more. And one thing I said in one of my blogs, actually, it was the diversity and inclusion one on LinkedIn. I have that article on LinkedIn. I actually say in there that real work to allow diversity to happen is going to hurt. Okay. It's not going to feel good at all. It's going to hurt, because you're not just going about what people do. Okay. Because people do stuff and they're not sincere. They do it because they feel they have to do it. They do it until the leader leaves and they can go back to doing what they really want to do. So that don't, is going to hurt, because you have to actually make different decisions, right? You have to actually think differently. All right. That hurts. Thinking differently hurts. Yeah, so I talk about that in there, and I don't know. I'm gonna have to come up with something, but this gotta stop. Something has to happen, Chocolate. This is ridiculous. We in 2020. Come on now. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, child. All right. So I think that's all I wanted to say today. I had to show y'all that tweet, and just bring that up. Something that simple. 2,500 years. All these people, 100 people. I think it was 94 because I counted. It wasn't 100. It was 94. Okay. And not one Black person contributed in 2,500 years. Come on now. My goodness. And what I do realize is that, and this is just the way it happens, whoever's in control, they tell the story. Okay. The people in control tell the story. And if I'm in control and I want people to believe I did something when I know damn well I didn't, my story is going to be that I did it. Okay. A lot of these innovations, ideas, models in organizations and stuff, okay, they came from somebody else. Okay, but they're not acknowledged. They're not. What's that movie with Most Def, where he was assisting a heart surgeon? What is that movie? That was such a good movie. Okay, but that's what I'm talking about. Okay, Most Def is represented the Black man back. I forget his actual name, who was assisting this this very well-known heart surgeon. The Black man was the one who really came up with the innovation, but he was not acknowledged. He wasn't acknowledged. They made it seem like this other dude came up with it. Okay. And if he was acknowledged, it was just a little bit 1,000 years down the road, so, and that's one thing, equity, the core of equity. If you're talking about being inclusive and equal rights and all this other kind of stuff, true equity is hearing and acknowledging people when they speak, right? You can have a room, and I talked about this on my cyber training channel the other day. You can have a room full of the most diverse people. Like, they couldn't get more diverse in age, diverse in ethnicity, diverse in profession, diverse in height. I mean, whatever. The most diverse place in the world, okay? But if you are not listening to their voice, you just negated all that stuff, okay? There is no equality. If you don't give my voice the same weight as somebody else's, you could just hang it up. You may as well have a room full of homogenous, the whole glass could just be white milk, because it's the same. If you have a glass of chocolate milk, but you're only listening to the white particles or whatever, do you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, you have to listen to people. You have to give credit where credit is due. Okay. That's how you're going to get to real equity. It's not a numbers game. Your 14-year-old daughter's going to IT. She needs some of your training. Oh, does she? Okay. Well, I have my cyber training video. You can email me, with anything, if you like, and we can talk about it. Okay. All right. I think that's all I have for today, because I could rant and rave about this stuff all day. Like I really, I really could. I really could. And when I was doing my new evaluation model, right, I was sure to go into places that people had not gone into before. I looked up evaluation in Native American cultures, like how they did it, how they do it, how do they train people? Okay, what does that look like, right? I Skyped with a professor in South Africa to talk to him about how they do it over there. How do they do those things? Okay. I went to folks in the deaf community, right, in DC. What's the name of that school in DC? That's just for deaf. Oh my goodness. It's just for people who can't hear. I forget the name of it. But I went to their website, and I'm looking to see, okay, how do blind and deaf people learn, and how would a blind or deaf person, be able to do that evaluation work? If they're, do you see, there are so many angles we're missing. We're missing out on so much because we don't consider the value of diversity, the value of it. Okay, it's not a numbers thing. It's like you just got money laying on the floor and you just walking over it. You're not doing nothing with it. Money on the floor. Okay, but because you only think this, the $1 bill is the only one that's valuable, you missing all the hundreds and 20s and 50s that's laying around all over the place. Okay. So that's what I did when I did my evaluation model. I tried to think of, okay, what am I blind because I can see, I can hear well, I can speak. What are these privileges blinding me to? Okay, and I really had to think about that. All right, I really had to think about that. And once I did, I was able to go into those communities and ask questions, speak to some of those people, look at what they were doing. Okay, so that we can enhance the way we do things. All right. All right. Oh, thank you, Chocolate. You're so sweet. All right, I'm out of here. I've been ranting about this for 28 minutes. And so I'm going to come back with some more stuff focused on this too, because again, like I said, we need to talk about this more. So Chocolate, thanks for being here with me. I really, really appreciate you. And I'm glad you caught alive as well. So I'll talk to you later. Okay, and again, if you need anything, just email me, ypifany@gmail.com. I'll make sure I have it in the description in this video. All right. You have a good evening and stay safe out there. Okay. We don't want the Rona, doing stuff we don't need to be doing. Okay. Good night.